Carrying out the plan was not the plan. There is a quiet power that moves beneath all things. Call it what you will. It does not explain itself, nor ask permission. It simply waits, and when the time is right, it acts, not with thunder, but with precision. We make our plans. We chart our courses with care, some with ambition, others with trembling hope. We think the shape of our desire is enough to bring it into being, that if we are careful enough, strategic enough, sincere enough, we can bend the future toward our designs. But sometimes, perhaps often, what we call our plan is nothing more than scaffolding, a frame built to hold our faith. And just when we are ready to climb, the frame is taken down. It can feel like betrayal, but it isn't. There is a deeper hand at work, one that sees what we cannot, one that moves not by our clocks, but by alignment. And when the alignment is off, when the plan we made begins to lead us away from who we are becoming, it is interrupted, gently or all at once. The timing never feels right. The moment of collapse never comes with warning. But if you look closely, you will see something eerie in the aftermath. Not chaos, but choreography. Not ruin, but reorientation. Because carrying out the plan was not the plan. The path was only the beginning. It stirred the waters, awakened the desire, brought us to the edge of something real, but the plan itself was never the destination. It was the summons. And when the summons has done its work, the deeper current takes over. Some call it fate, others call it life, but whatever name you give it, you know when it's moving. You feel it in your bones, the sudden turn, the door you thought would open, sealed shut, the invitation you didn't expect, the loss that wasn't random, the phone call that changed everything. What we call coincidence is often orchestration. The truth is, the real design rarely announces itself. It arrives like an interruption, dressed as confusion. But in time, with distance, we begin to see. We were being redirected, not away from meaning, but toward it. We had plans. But the plans were too small. They would have kept us comfortable. They would have kept us hidden. But there is something in the fabric of the world that insists we grow. And so it comes, for our comfort, for our illusions, for the neatly made beds of our intention, and begins to undo them, not out of cruelty, but to make room for something fuller, truer, wiser than we would have chosen on our own. The ones who walk long enough come to know this. They learn not to cling to what collapses. They learn to listen for what speaks after the silence. They learn to distinguish the sound of delay from the sound of direction. And in time, they come to trust that strange reversal, that what didn't work out was never meant to, that what failed was a kind of faithfulness, that the derailment was a deliverance. Not all guidance comes with warmth. Sometimes the clearest instructions come through absence, through closed roads, through doors that don't budge no matter how hard we knock. It takes courage to stop knocking, to say, maybe this was not the way after all. It takes even more to bless the interruption. But this is the mark of the mature, not the one who finishes the plan, but the one who recognizes when to put the plan down. Because carrying it out would have led you elsewhere, somewhere flatter, safer, but farther from the pulse that summoned you in the first place. There are unseen forces that know better than we do. They are not interested in efficiency. They are not impressed by our goals. They move according to wholeness, to truth, to timing, and they are not afraid to disrupt what we think we need in order to give us what we could not have imagined. That is why so many of the turning points in our lives come dressed as detours. That is why the map falls out of our hands, just when we thought we'd found the trail. That is why the voice we didn't know we were waiting for speaks only after we've stopped speaking. Because the plan was not the plan. The plan was the signal fire, but the movement that answered it came from beyond us. And once it arrives, our task is no longer to build, it is to follow.